Hello beautiful perception trainers people, welcome back to another video. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you how I discovered why I was so addicted to being approved of, consensus reality approval, and the sneaky ways in which I was addicted to approval and didn't even know it, and also the idea of why I was constantly looking for a perfect teacher who had all the answers, and why I would get so dramatically disappointed when I would see a human flaw in a teacher that I was watching, or when they would demonstrate to me that they aren't complete, they aren't fully put together, they don't have their whole lives figured out, they have problems, and why that would be so devastating for me. So if you have not already, please watch the last video that I made on the nervous system, because this explains the addiction to approval. Essentially, in that temporary reality of childhood, me and everyone else was completely dependent upon the approval of my caregivers for survival. And again, if that is not a victim state, where I literally, my mind is completely open to being programmed. I don't know what's right and wrong, what's good and bad, what's up and down. I don't know how the world works. So when my parents are teaching me that this is how the world works, this is what is good, this is what is bad, this is what is right, this is what is wrong, I don't have the capacity to question that. My mind is completely victim to them. That's the first thing. Second thing, when they disapprove of my behavior, when they disapprove of me as a person, when they withdraw from me, when they reject me, that triggers my nervous system that I am not going to get my needs met, because I am dependent upon them fully and completely to get my needs met. I can't go get other parents to feed me. I can't go get other parents to love me. I can't go get other caregivers. Not as a child. If my caregivers decide not to provide for me, I don't get what I need. And again, as a child, I was simple enough that I couldn't cognitively understand that. I just physiologically understood that. So I am then completely beholden to trying to become whatever my parents wanted me to be, whatever they approved of. And that got wired into my psychology, my physiology, that is what is required for survival. So the degree to which my caregivers' opinions of how reality actually functions, about what's good and bad, right and wrong, whatever, are outside of actual reality, is the degree to which I am now conditioned to live outside of reality. And again, I know that a lot of people, especially in the spiritual world, really want to believe that humans are all mental, that we don't have a species-specific way of being that enables us to thrive. And I would agree that we are very complex. And the variety of ways that we can live in which we are getting our needs met, because we are so complex, is wide and varied. We're not like little fish who have to have a very specific environment, and every type of fish like this has to have this specific environment, and when that environment changes very slightly, the fish all die. We can understand that with every other life form, that we don't blame the fish when the fish environment that it needs to thrive, because that's what its physiology is adapted to, changes and the fish all die. We don't go, oh man, there's something wrong with that fish. That fish is broken. All these fish broke. We immediately go, what happened in the environment? It was the environment that fucked it up. The fish didn't all decide to just die. What was in the water? Oh, chemical. Chemical they can't handle. Temperature changed. Their enzymes all broke down. They died. We can understand that with all other life forms. Literally, plants, animals, we all go, if something isn't functioning properly, if the bears are all dying, if the plants are all brown, if the leaves aren't growing properly, if the trunk is doing something weird, if it's getting diseases, we all go, environment. What's going on in its environment? Yet, for humans, we all go, something is malfunctioning in the human, what's wrong with the human? The environment is fine. It's the human. You're depressed. There's something wrong with you that you binge. There's something wrong with you that you purge. There's something wrong with you that you drink. There's something wrong with you that you're anorexic. There's something wrong with you that you're an alcoholic. There's something wrong with you that you're a drug addict. There's something wrong with you that you're depressed. There's something wrong with you that you're anxious. Or the kind of flip side of that coin of that's just happening and we don't know why. It's just runs in the family. It's just something that happens to humans and it's a mystery. There's nothing we can do about it. What? No. Environment. Environment. Every other biological thing on this planet has an environment that when those needs aren't met, it starts to devolve. It has to adapt. It doesn't live optimally. We as humans are so complex that we can adapt to a lot of unideal circumstances. We have the capacity to withstand and survive a lot of things that are totally out of alignment with us. And that tricks us into thinking that we can just do whatever we want and that our suffering is just mental and all these things. No, we're just really robust. If we were any less complicated, we would eat a potato chip and just die. But the fact that we keep living till we're 100 convinces us that it's just a mental thing. We can eat potato chips and it's fine because look, not everyone dies immediately or young from a disease because they eat potato chips, so potato chips must be fine. No. No. Unless you're pointing out to me, the human who is thriving, who is constantly in that what we call a childlike state of curiosity and self-expression and creativity and going after challenges, like literally seeking out things that are the unknown, because the unknown is adventure. The unknown is what I need to know next to create what I want to create next. The person who's continually reinventing themselves, evolving. The person who doesn't care what society is doing. And at the same time, we can see in this person that the way that they're living is also completely always moving in a direction of being constructive for the whole. So more and more we're seeing that what this person naturally wants to do and the things that they're naturally excited about and the things that they're naturally wanting to grow into aren't getting more money and getting more things and acquiring more status and participating in ways of life that very clearly are harmful to other beings. That there's going to be more of an understanding of oneness, more of an understanding of unity, more of an understanding of I don't want a big house, I don't want a bigger yard, I don't want another car, I don't need another Fendi purse. It's not about more money, more status, more conquering, more stuff, more having. It's about more experiences. It's about more interactions. It's about more expression. The things that they understand fulfill them aren't the physical things. Until we see that, I don't believe you that we can live a life where we eat potato chips and be fine. because we're not thriving as a human race. We're coping. We're surviving. We're making it through. We're making it work. We're taking enough CBD oil that we can get through the day. We're taking enough antidepressant that we can get through the day. We have TV to look forward to at the end of the night. We have enough junk food to eat that makes it so that we feel like all our pain goes away. And I am not saying don't take antidepressants. I am not saying don't take anti-anxiety medication. I'm not saying CBD oil is bad for you. Nothing like this. All I'm saying is that when we are getting our needs met, we won't need those things. Because those things are things we're using to cope with a life that doesn't feel good. And so, like I said, in my childhood, I was trained to live a life that didn't feel good. I didn't choose that. And I was programmed because in the temporary reality of my childhood, approval equaled survival. I had to be approved of by my caregivers in order for them to provide for me. That was reality. And that is reality for all of us. So we are not making ourselves victims to our caregivers. We are not making ourselves victims to our upbringing. We were victims. And that is just plain and simple. It is fact. We needed them to survive. We had to be what they wanted us to be. And they taught us ways to live that are out of alignment with reality. That is why we are in pain. That we now are continuing on, and then we're going to pass on to our children, and they're going to pass it on to their children, and they're passing it on to their children, because none of us are questioning. Maybe it's what we're doing that's out of alignment. We are all now convinced that our pain is coming from not fitting in. And as much as we might think we're rebels, and no, that's not true about me. Look at, I'm an alternative person. I'm a hipster. I moved to Bali. I'm not living a conventional life. I'm homesteading. I'm okay, sure. But really look at it. Really deep down look at it. Are you not looking to do what you're doing so you can tell people what you're doing? So you can have that picture of yourself on social media where people say, good job, you're doing it. Are you not living in a tropical location, wearing the same yoga clothes as everyone else, speaking the spiritual language, being a life coach like everyone else? Constantly looking for, am I doing it right based on what other people are thinking of me? And I'm not, again, I'm going to personalize this. I have been addicted to people approving of me, telling me I'm doing a good job, telling me that my work is helping them, telling me that I'm contributing something to their lives, that what I'm doing is the right thing and it's making them feel good. And on the flip side, when people tell me that what I'm doing is triggering them, or it's not enough, or I'm not helping enough, or it's not the right thing, or I'm not right, or all these things, I would get crushed and I would get devastated. And that's because for me, growing up, getting approval was completely tied into how much I was helping my caregivers. What was my utility? What did I provide? Or how much could I get out of the way? So that became wired into my nervous system of when I help, I'm approved of, and therefore my needs are going to get met. So now I'm addicted to helping people and getting there. You did good. You helped me. You helped me see something I didn't see before. You're helping me with my pain. You're helping me all of these things. And that would give me that hit of pleasure, of safety, of I did it, okay, good. And then the next day, reset. I would feel just as anxious, just as depressed, just as scared, just as lost, just as confused, just as, oh my gosh, am I doing it right? Am I doing the right things? Is this right? Is this wrong? What? And then someone would tell me I'm doing good, and then the pain would go away. And this is the point that I'm trying to make in this video. That addiction to getting approval was always covering up the true pain that I was in. The true, actual pain that I was experiencing. Because what happened in my childhood is, again, I was living my child life, being myself, like every child is. Before you're conditioned, before you know what's right and wrong, before you know what's societally acceptable and what isn't, we're just ourselves. And we don't know yet that a need can be wrong. We don't know yet that a desire can be wrong. We don't know yet that we're supposed to fear the unknown. We don't know yet that we're supposed to reject parts of ourselves. So we're just interacting with reality. We're curious about everything. We get our hands in everything. We want to know everything about everything through experience, because that's natural. That's how we learn. That's natural human self. You're constantly looking to express yourself, and you're constantly looking into the unknown and to get into stuff and to make messes and to learn how to clean them up, interact with actual reality. That's the natural human state. And then we get conditioned. Nope, don't do that. Don't be that. You can't do that. You can't be that. Shame, guilt, blame, abandonment, rejection. That triggers nervous system. Okay, I'm going to die. Because mom and dad are going to take away love from me, and therefore they're taking away provision. So the initial pain that we all feel, the actual pain that we're all dealing with, that I was dealing with, was the pain of not ever getting to express a part of myself. And the pain of having pain in my childhood that was real, true pain. So the pain of, I don't understand this. The pain of, I just made a mess and I don't know how to clean it up. The pain of, I want to create something, I want to do something, I want to have something, I want to be something, and I don't know how to do it. That's true pain. And that's why I say pain is always going to be a part of reality, because we are here to be constantly learning. And that pain just shows us where we're bumping up against the limits of our understanding, or where we're bumping up against the limits of reality itself. So every child is going to get a stomach ache when they overeat chocolate chip cookies. And that's not because they're telling themselves that chocolate chip cookies are bad for them. If a child is never told, this food is good, this food is bad, there's no mental concept, they are going to get a stomach ache from eating 50 cookies. Why? Because that is reality. That is reality. Now, if we look at that child and we say, okay, you ate the 50 cookies, you feel bad, you threw up. Let's not shame you. Let's not blame you. Let's say, okay, let's look at this. I know they tasted good. I know it felt fun to eat the cookie. There's nothing wrong with you that you wanted to eat cookies. We all want pleasure. But now we can see long term that pleasure turned into pain. So again, and I know this is complex, but we can say, like, what felt good about that? What felt good about the cookie? It made you feel excited. It made you feel buzzed. It triggered your nervous system. So how can we stimulate you in healthier ways? It's just a need you are trying to get met. You need food, so we get that met with real food. And then you need stimulation. You need entertainment. So let's do that with books and learning and being outside. And then all of a sudden, the cookie is not as attractive because the cookie makes me feel sick, but playing outside doesn't. I can go and interact with reality and have all the fun and adventures that I want, and it doesn't equal pain in the end. So therefore, I'm going to choose being outside over cookies every single time. And there's no shame and there's no guilt and there's no shit involved because reality taught us. That's the real pain that we're all in. That we got blocked from learning from real reality because we were conditioned instead. And then again, it gets wired into the nervous system that the way to get out of that pain that we're in is to do something that gets us that hit of approval, that makes us feel safe, and we think we solved our pain. So this is why we're all trapped, and I was trapped, in this cycle of being in pain and then doing my coping mechanism of work, doing my coping mechanism many years ago of losing weight, because I got praised for losing weight. So I would be in pain, and that pain was real pain. That's the pain of I'm not allowed to be myself, the pain of I'm not allowed to express myself, the pain of there's all these things that I want to be doing and growing and expanding into and learning about that I'm not allowed to because I was told don't do that, that's off limits, don't make a mess, you can't do that, I don't want to help you with that. So now I'm being held back from being who I want to be. And that's the real pain I'm in. But I can't see that. Because every single time in my childhood, I tried to be that. I tried to express that. I tried to go into that. I got shamed. I got blamed. I got rejected. So now it's automatic in my nervous system that when I want to do this thing, that when I want to express this thing, when I want to go after this, I'm going to get rejected. And that's going to equal death. And then getting approved of is the triage. You see? I hope I'm making this clear. That the triage, right? My nervous system triaged. Okay, well, self-expression isn't important right now. Growth isn't important right now. Now, we have to fix the mess of being rejected because we're not safe anymore. So you see how this works. We wanted to express because we felt safe. We wanted to grow and expand and go into the unknown and discover things because we felt safe. That was the foundation for that. We had the undying trust that our parents were going to provide for us, and we felt safe. And that's why we were naturally creative, naturally curious, naturally expressive. That's why I was. And then when that fourth wall got broken, when I got abandoned, when I got rejected, all of a sudden I'm not safe anymore. So growth, expansion, and self-discovery get put on the back burner because now it's about solidify getting my needs met. I'm not safe anymore. I now have to do something. I now have to pay attention to what to do to get food, to get love, to get nourishment, when I didn't have to pay attention to that before. And that changes everything. So we get rejected, we get abandoned, we get let go of in our childhoods. And all of a sudden, that safety net, that safety bubble, where we're able to be expansive, self-curious, actually learning from reality, gets shut down because hierarchy of needs. If we feel like there's not going to be food, we don't care about learning. We don't care about self-expression. We don't care about all that stuff because what is the good of that if we are going to starve to death? So when we get rejected in our childhoods, the fourth wall is broken and we are now having to pay attention to physical needs that we can't meet for ourselves. We can't get food for ourselves. We can't get love for ourselves. We don't understand our own needs and our own wants, and we can't meet them for ourselves. The only thing we have control over is being who our parents, our caregivers want us to be so that they will accept us, so that they will meet our needs. And then that gets wired in over and over again, every single time we're rejected for being ourselves, every single time so then, right, we do the thing, we get rejected, we change, so mom and dad love us again, we eat, nervous system calms down, we go to express ourselves again because we feel safe, we get reprimanded again. Triggers nervous system. Okay, well now I'm not safe, put that on the back burner, do whatever I need to do, I get fed, okay, that saved my life, I feel better. Now I'm going to try and express myself again, reprimand. And then that happens enough that eventually we start saying, okay, skip that part. Every time now I felt like being my real self. Every time I tried to express something that I knew would have gotten me rejected by my parents. Anytime I wanted to explore something, to make a mess, to go somewhere where that's my natural growth, that all of a sudden started to trigger me just in itself. The desire, the unconscious even desire to go do, be something that got me rejected would trigger me into my nope, just do whatever you need to do to get your needs, to get approved of behavior. And so, like I say, that is why I was addicted to being approved of, because being approved of didn't meet the need. The real pain was that I wanted to be myself. I wanted to go make a mess and learn how to clean it up. I wanted to go and interact with reality and learn something. That was the real pain. That was the real need. But that got wired into my nervous system as being something that makes food, shelter, love, basic needs go away, because it makes my parents reject me. And then that caused pain on top of the pain. I call that consensus pain, fake pain, false pain. The pain of being rejected for doing what is natural and required for actual survival in real reality, growth, self-expression. So now I go and get myself approved of by rejecting my real self, by rejecting my natural growth impulse, by rejecting what would actually facilitate my real life in my childhood to be what my parents wanted me to be. I shut down that aspect of myself. I don't go and learn that thing. I don't make the mess. I don't explore. I don't express that emotion. I don't learn. I go quiet. I go nice. I go helpful. Mom loves me again. I feel safe for a minute. And now it's wired into my nervous system and into my brain that when I feel unsettled, when I feel nervous, when I feel anxious, when I feel any of these things that are actually coming from not being my real self, not living my real life, not growing, the answer is to do something to get me approved of, and then I'll feel safe. So then I'll go work. I'll go look for someone that I can help. I'll, back in the day, like I said, lose weight. I'll exercise. I'll cut my calories. I'll, whatever it is. And that is an addiction because it's not meeting the real need. So what I have discovered for myself is that the real answer to my problems was learning where I was still operating in that nervous system response, that rejection equals death, and that acceptance is the answer to my problems. That I just need to be more successful in my career. I just need to be thinner. I just need to be prettier. I just need to be smarter. I just need to be more helpful. I just need to be more gracious. I need to be more something that at the end of the day was what my parents wanted me to be, but I could see that I was projecting it onto reality. I was projecting what they wanted me to be onto everybody. This is just what a spiritual person is, right? Shouldn't I want to be more grounded and stable and more helpful? Shouldn't I want that? Isn't that real? Isn't that true thing? Shouldn't I want to be more successful in my career? Shouldn't I want to be making more money? Shouldn't I want to be reaching more people? Doesn't that make sense? Shouldn't I feel bad about myself that I don't have these things? And shouldn't I feel good when I get them? But why then do I always feel like it's not enough? Why do I always feel so crushed when I feel rejected? Why do I always feel like no matter how rebellious or different I am, I'm just looking for that group to validate me? Or looking for the teacher to validate me? Looking for the spiritual teaching to validate me? Looking for someone or something outside of me to tell me that I'm doing good? Because I didn't know how to know from real reality if I was doing good or not. True pain and true pleasure. And in a lot of ways, like I say, what I thought was the right thing to do. Sacrifice myself more. Work harder. Of course, back in the day, lose weight. Be prettier. Figure out some way of being quieter. Figure out some way of being more spiritual. Was causing me pain. What I was trained to believe was the right thing was the wrong thing. in real reality. It was killing me. In true pain and true pleasure. It wasn't true. So I was feeling terrible because I was doing the wrong thing. But then to do the right thing also felt terrible because my nervous system was like, no, 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 no. That's going to get you rejected. That's going to get you, and then you're not going to have food. You're not going to have water. You're not going to have shelter. You can't get rejected. You're a small child. And that's when I started to recognize, oh, okay. This approval to addiction is completely coming from being stuck in childhood psychology. That it is the approval of other people that makes something real or not real. And that my being approved of equals survival, and my being disapproved of equals death. This is why we're all so afraid of being rejected, and why to us being rejected equals death. Because in our childhoods, in our nervous system, that is what it was. And now we've built a world where it really looks like we need each other. That if someone doesn't approve of you, they're not going to give you a job, and then you don't have money, and then you can't live. If someone doesn't marry you, you can't afford to be here, and then you can't live. If you're your real self and everyone abandons you and everyone rejects you, you won't be able to survive. And we have that, and I had that. And so, like I say, every time we feel that existential, what we're really feeling is that I want to be my real self. I want to do this thing that always got me rejected in my childhood. We automatically go to something that's going to get us approved of, or, like I say, a coping mechanism that, like drinking or drugs or alcohol, or I know I already said that, shopping, some of these things that we might say, okay, but that isn't getting me approved of. So how is it that doing that behavior is trying to get me approval? I would just say, again, that behavior is there to just stop you from being your real self, to stop you from doing the thing, the growth path you want to do, to stop you. It's not necessarily getting you approval, but it's stopping you from being the thing that's now wired into your nervous system that if you do this, you will die. So the disapproval that you get from eating disorder, the disapproval that you get from shopping or drinking or drugs or whatever, is still not wired into your nervous system as being the reason your parents rejected you as a child, and therefore what will get you dead. That's kind of how we have to look at it. That whatever coping mechanism and self-sabotage and self-abuse you're doing right now is the way that you're coping with not being able to be your real self and do the thing you really want to do, because in your childhood that got destroyed. So you don't actually want to drink. You don't actually want to do drugs. You want to climb on top of a rock and learn how to climb back down. You want to express yourself as an artist, and your parents wanted you to be a jock. You wanted to cry and be angry and have a hissy fit, and your parents taught you to have a stiff upper lip. And so instead of crying and having a hissy fit, you drink. Instead of going and having the adventure, you numb out with sex. Instead of expressing your real personality, you purge. It's not that these things get you approval. It's that they stop you from being what got you so disapproved of in your childhood that you felt like you were going to die. And that's what I discovered about myself, is that so much of my needing other people to validate me was coming from the fact that I couldn't validate myself, because I never learned to validate myself, and because I didn't know how to learn from reality in the way that I knew that I could provide for myself, even if the world rejected me. I was still operating from the childlike psychology that if the people around me don't approve of me, I'm going to die. Because that's how it was in my childhood. But that's not how it is now. But my nervous system didn't know that. So a big part of what I've been doing over the last several years of my life has been feeling that need to go do something to get approval. Feeling that I'm not good enough. I'm not doing enough. I'm not providing enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. And sitting with that and saying, okay, what's the actual emotion under this? What's the actual desire under this? Because this I'm not good enough is what's riding on top of the actual expression I want to do, the actual growth I want to take, the actual thing I want to be, that is so imprinted into my nervous system that it will kill me, that I just automatically go into people pleasing. That before I'm even consciously aware that I wanted to express something, I'm shutting that down because it's going to get me rejected, and now I'm going to people please because that makes me feel better. That makes me feel like I saved myself twice. All I feel is the people pleasing part. Or why does it feel so crushing that this person on the internet doesn't agree with me? And I would take myself back into my childhood and say, when did I feel like this? When did I first start feeling like this? And it always comes back to, oh, okay, that was when I learned that being big and dramatic was wrong. And right now, I have a big dramatic emotion that I want to express. And rather than letting myself express it, I'm 50 steps down the road. My brain, being so pattern recognition, doesn't even alert me anymore to the fact that I wanted to express an emotion that was not okay in my household. It's just the second it even sort of perceives that as happening, I'm already on to people pleasing. And that hit of people pleasing makes me feel like I saved myself. When the real reality is I needed to express that emotion. I didn't actually want someone to make me feel better about myself. I wanted to cry because I was sad. I hurt myself. And I learned that I'm supposed to have a stiff upper lip every single time I'm in pain. And so instead of crying, I helped somebody. And so I said, okay, well, what happens if I just let myself cry when I stub my toe? And let myself admit that that really hurt. And be dramatic. And that was really scary. But then doing so, I saw that, okay, that would have gotten me rejected in my childhood. But now as an adult, it's okay. And my nervous system is now starting to catch up to the fact that I can be rejected as an adult. That I cannot be what my parents wanted me to be. And that I can be what my parents didn't want me to be. And still be okay. And I'm slowly learning this. I'm still seeing that where I want to go and get approval, where I want to go and work harder, I'm not enough, I'm not doing enough, I need this person to understand me, I need this person to love me, I need this person to validate me, I need the teacher to tell me I'm doing good, I need the teacher to be perfect, validating that I can get to a place where all my pain goes away. No. What's the real thing that's coming up? What am I not trying to be? What am I trying to express, suppress? Where do I want to go and explore something that I was told I couldn't do? Where do I want to make a mess? And can I let myself do that? It's not about needing someone to approve of me. It's about I want to learn from reality myself. By being myself and interacting with reality and learning. And I'm making myself safe by loving myself enough to say it doesn't matter if people approve of you or not. I know that's really scary, but what do you really want to do? What do you really want to be? And can you do it and watch that it's okay? So it's not about approval. It was never about approval. It was always that's what my nervous system thought I needed to do to survive. And then the story got shortened, so I didn't even notice what I was wanting to express anymore. And so when I look at where am I desperate for approval and what am I actually wanting to do and be and express that I'm not allowed to, that is helping me not need approval so much. I'm getting the actual need met. I'm seeing my actual need. So I hope that this helps you. And yeah, join the mystery school. Come play with me more. And until the next video, have a fantastic week.